Al only shows us the data from 1980 on. If he showed us the data for the last 200 years, the viewers of his movie could see the glaciers have been melting for 200 years, 100 years before man produced significant amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and the melting rate didn't change when man started to produce carbon dioxide in significant amounts. The next one.
But there is one relationship that is far more powerful than all the others, and it is this. When there is more carbon dioxide, the temperature gets warmer because it traps more heat from the sun inside.
The famous one, you know, the CO2 and the temperature correlate in the ice core data. And Al has this across a great big stage, bigger than this, and he rides a little chair. What he neglects to mention is that if this data didn't look this way, we would know the ice cores were wrong, because the vapor pressure of carbon dioxide is temperature dependent. You can take a flask in the laboratory, put seawater in it, dissolve carbon dioxide to the concentration that is present in the seas, gradually raise the temperature, and the vapor pressure, the amount of CO2 and the gas over the water, will just go up and down exactly like this. Moreover, it's quantitative. In this bar graph, you see on the left the amount of temperature change correlated with 30% rise in CO2 average over all the ice core data. The second graph, the second bar, is that estimated by Ravel and Seuss as to what would happen if it were just vapor pressure dependent. The third is the actual experimental data from a flask of that sort. The CO2 goes up and down because it's temperature dependent. It has to, because of equilibrium thermodynamics. This has, Al essentially is saying the equivalent of accidents cause speeding. And this one?
This is the range that would be expected over the last 60 years. But the scientists who specialize in global warming have computer models that long ago predicted this range of temperature increase. Now I'll show you recently released the actual ocean temperatures.
This one's my favorite. Play it again and stop it.
This is the range that would be expected over the last 60 years. But the scientists who specialize in global warming have computer models that long ago predicted this range of temperature increase.
That's the computer model predicted temperature range. Look closely. He did label the axis on this one. His computer model predictions began in 1938. Now, unless Big Al invented the computer before he was born and didn't show it, didn't share it with anybody but climate modelers for the next 20 years, this isn't true. And of course it's not. The whole thing is a fabrication. There are no such computer models. Next.
We have seen in the last couple of years a lot of big hurricanes. Hurricane Jeannie and Francis and Ivan were among them. And of course the consequences were so horrendous. There are no words to describe it.
And as many of the speakers will point out, there's no correlation between the hurricanes and the hurricane frequency and intensity has not increased during the period that man is producing hydrocarbons. Next.
That's why the citizens of these Pacific nations have all had to evacuate to New Zealand.
This is because they've been flooded off their Pacific islands by the 3-inch increase in sea level over the last 50 years.
There are a lot of vectors for infectious diseases that are worrisome to us that are also expanding their range, not only mosquitoes, but all of these others as well.
Well, this is false. We don't need to go into each one, but the mosquitoes are interesting because Al Gore is a promoter of mosquitoes. He has been a very strong advocate of the continuation of the ban of DDT, which keeps 500 million people sick and kills 2 or 3 million children every year. This one.
Overall, species loss is now occurring at a rate 1,000 times greater than the natural background rate.
Notice the species that are disappearing, the woolly mammoth.
We have here a scales that balances two different things. On one side, we have gold bars. Don't they look good? I'd just like to have some of those gold bars. On the other side of the scales, the entire planet.
Now, these gold bars, we're getting a little closer to the subject. I think Indiana Jones put it very well. One of his sidekicks says, "Why are they doing this, Indiana?" Indiana says, "Fortune and glory, kid, fortune and glory." And that's what Al Gore has gotten for his efforts, fortune and glory. A pile of gold bars that this guy has made by these statements that we've gone before, you wouldn't be able to see Al for the gold bars. And then the last thing, I've given you a list of that little petition. We got into this in an odd way because we wrote an editorial in the Wall Street Journal invited during the Kyoto meetings, and were astonished when the enviros read us out of the human race. That got our attention, and we circulated a petition. Many of you are signers. I won't go into it extensively. As to, the text is there on the thing that I put on your chair, and you understand it. This petition, in which has been signed by over 31,000 Americans with university degrees in science, 9,000 PhDs, does not purport in any way to determine scientific truth. Scientific truth is not determined by polling. Human opinions cannot change natural truth. Scientists just seek natural truth. Their opinions are irrelevant. And oftentimes, many times in history, one man has been right about the science and all the rest wrong. There's no effort to determine what the truth is by polling. Our goal was solely to show that the consensus that Al Gore has been claiming for the last decade, saying that virtually all scientists agree with him except Richard Lindzen, whom they always bring out as the last skeptic, is not true, that he has a lot of allies. It includes a couple of thousand people who could be said to be in climate science. Most